It was a rainy evening when Lily moved into the old house at the edge of the village. The locals had warned her about its dark past, but she was determined to start anew after a painful breakup. The house, though old and weathered, seemed perfect for her to escape the world for a while. Little did she know, the house had a history far darker than anyone dared speak of. On her first night, the air felt thick with an unsettling stillness. As she settled in, the wind howled outside, rattling the windows. She tried to brush off the uneasy feeling that crept over her, telling herself it was just nerves. However, that night, as she lay in bed, she heard a faint whispering voice coming from the shadows. Lily. The voice called her name, barely audible, but it was enough to send a chill down her spine. She sat up, heart pounding, but saw nothing in the darkness of the room. The whisper came again, clearer this time. Lily, come to me. Terrified, she pulled the blankets over her head, thinking it was her imagination playing tricks on her. But the whispers didn't stop. Instead, they grew louder, now accompanied by the sound of footsteps pacing across the floor. Trembling, she forced herself to stand and turn on the lights. But when the light flickered on, the room was empty. Shaking, Lily tried to brush it off as a dream. The next day, however, things only worsened. She began to notice things moving on their own, objects shifting slightly, doors creaking open by themselves, and a cold breeze that would suddenly sweep through the house despite all windows being closed. At night, the whispers returned, now more urgent, more desperate. The voice sounded pained, filled with sorrow and rage. One evening, Lily decided to investigate the house's dark past. She visited the village library and found an old newspaper article about a woman named Evelyn, who had once lived in the house. Evelyn was a young woman who had mysteriously vanished many years ago, the police never finding any clues. The townspeople whispered that she had been taken by a malevolent spirit, a ghost that roamed the house, bound to it for eternity. With this newfound knowledge, Lily felt both fearful and intrigued. That night, the whispers were louder than ever. This time, they seemed to call her name with a mix of anger and desperation. "Lily, you must find me," the voice cried. "I have been waiting." Unable to resist, Lily followed the voice down the dark hallway to the basement door. The air grew colder the closer she got. The door creaked open on its own, and she descended the stairs. At the bottom, the temperature dropped drastically, her breath visible in the frigid air. In the dim light, she saw a figure standing in the far corner of the room. It was a woman, pale and gaunt, her hair hanging in tangled strands over her face. Her eyes were empty sockets, black and lifeless, and her mouth stretched into a twisted grin. Lily froze in terror as the ghostly figure slowly turned toward her, its hand reaching out. "You found me," the ghost whispered in a voice that sent tremors through Lily's body. "But now, you will never leave." Suddenly, the figure lunged at her, and a chilling, cold hand wrapped around her wrist. Lily screamed, trying to pull away, but the grip was like iron. The ghost's laughter echoed in her ears as her vision blurred. The temperature in the room plummeted further, and the walls seemed to close in around her. In a desperate attempt to escape, Lily yanked herself free and ran up the stairs, but every door she tried to open was locked. The ghost's voice filled her mind, whispering horrors she couldn't understand, growing louder and louder with each passing second. She felt the walls close in, suffocating her. In a final act of panic, Lily dashed back down the hallway to the basement door, throwing it open with all her strength. But as she stepped through the doorway, the world seemed to twist. The house had changed. Everything was darker, older, and the whispers now filled the air, surrounding her from every direction. The next morning, the house was still. The storm outside had passed, and the sun rose with a quiet, unnerving calm. But when the villagers came to check on Lily, they found nothing, no trace of her, not even a sign that she had ever been there. The house stood silent, empty once more, its dark secret still hidden within. However, sometimes when the wind blows just right, the faint sound of a woman's voice can be heard calling out, "Find me," as if Lily is still there, forever searching, forever trapped by the ghost of Evelyn.